Story 1. A dog I had never met ran up to me on the street, dropped his ball at my feet, and looked at me as if I was chosen for the most important mission of my life. Story 2. I saw a child on the sidewalk wave at a garbage truck, and the driver honked and waved back as if they were best friends. Story 3. My cat gently touched my face this morning with her paw, as if she was ensuring I was real before asking for breakfast. Story 4. I saw a toddler at the park dramatically sigh, put his hands on his hips, and say, "I just need a break from all this." Story 5. I saw an elderly couple at a cafe sharing a milkshake. When the lady wiped some off his nose, he laughed like a child. Story 6. A little girl in a princess dress tripped and immediately said, "I'm okay," before anyone could ask, like a true professional. Story 7. I sneezed in the elevator, and a random old lady patted my arm and said, "Bless you, darling. That was a strong one." Story 8. I saw a young child struggling to carry a large backpack, and his little sister ran up to assist him. They were both unsteady, but they just laughed and continued on. It made my heart melt a bit. Story 9. My sister sent a crochet dumpster on fire to my job. It has a little sign that says, "I'm fine. It's fine. Everything is fine." It serves as an emotional support figure. Story 10. My boyfriend laughed. I love his laugh. I can hear him from a mile away, and it always makes me smile. Story 11. One of the maids at our hotel didn't have childcare for the day, so she brought her toddler. The child sat in her stroller, laughing at some cute cartoons. She giggled every time a chime jingled. This child was truly adorable, simply by being alive in the world. Story 12. Tiny baby Barbary ground squirrels are playing on the beach, oblivious to the humans around them. Story 13. My husband got a new motorcycle last week. He texted me this morning that he can't wait to gain more experience so he can take me on a ride. He also asked if my new helmet arrived and if I liked it. Story 14. My morning driver always smiles at everyone and says good morning with the sweetest smile. Although nobody replies to her, I always do so I can see her smile brighter. She is so wholesome and genuinely makes my mornings better. Story 15. My cat heard my alarm go off this morning, so she went to find me. I was getting ready for work, but she followed me everywhere. She does that when she doesn't want me to leave because she wants a lap, but I have to work to keep her fed. I know she'll just sleep until I get home. Then she'll want a lap for a solid 2 hours. She's 19 years old and very predictable. She wasn't this clingy until I got my current job. Now she dislikes when I leave the house. She's such a sweetie. I can't wait to get off work and see her again. Story 16. My cat is sitting on me right now. I'm not feeling very well today. I've been sick for a while, but today is especially rough. I'm lying on my side. She came over, perched next to me, placed her little paws on my shoulder, rested her head on her paws and fell asleep. Story 17. My dog had refused to eat all day. I found out that she had seen a bag of new dog food and was waiting for me to open it. Story 18. Watching my little rescue dog, who spent 11 months in a shelter, soak up the rays on our deck this morning while sniffing the wind. Story 19. Not insignificant, but it made me smile. The years 2023 to 2024 tested my husband and me when I received a cancer diagnosis. Today is the first day I felt well enough to go out for a meal. I looked across the table at him, and my heart skipped a beat. I love him more today than ever, and I am so blessed. He has truly been my rock. Story 20. One of our cats has a thing for shoes. He is always sleeping on them, hiding behind them, and batting them around. I have no idea what the fascination is, but he loves them. Today, while I was at work, my boyfriend sent me a picture of our cat sleeping on one of my boots. He looked so blissed out. Story 21. I saw one child run up behind another and kick him hard before running away. While the injured child was writhing on the ground in pain, one of his friends chased down the kid who kicked him, confronted him, and said, "Yeah, that just happened." It was a perfect example of comeuppance. That made my heart smile. Story 22. Nothing yet. But now I will pay attention to my surroundings so this can happen. So far, the universe has only sent mildly irritating things my way. The day is not over yet. Story 23. I went to CVS. They had bunny ears, but on the ends were pink bunny peeps wearing tutus. Story 24. My indoor cat saw another indoor cat across our courtyard. The way they stared at each other was very cute. Story 25. I wouldn't say it was insignificant at all, but seeing my partner come back from the gym with his muscles pumped while trying to have a serious conversation with me made me realize I wasn't paying attention. His bicep veins caught my attention. Story 26. My coworker stopped during the rush to admire a beautiful Corvette parked outside our building. All those guys, normally very loud together, went to the window and quietly admired the car for a few seconds. Story 27. My 2-year-old cat came to me when I called out, "Bubby," this morning. This shows how often I call her that. Story 28. A toddler sat in a shopping cart in a supermarket and threw his pacifier at me while starting to giggle, which made me laugh. Story 29. There was a wreck on the interstate, and I was a little stressed about being late to work. However, I looked over to see someone enjoying music in their car. It made me smile and reminded me that there is no point in feeling anxious about things beyond your control. Story 30. I work as a recess and lunch monitor while pursuing my paraprofessional certification to help pay for my college degree. It is always adorable to see the younger kids being obedient when they receive their lunch, giving a thumbs up in the air. Story 31. I saw an elderly man exit the doctor's office using a walker. He was wearing khaki pants, a green shirt, and a very tall leprechaun hat. Story 32. I work at a facility that rents storage units. Today, a group of people with hearing disabilities came in for a locker. I successfully completed the contract without anyone getting frustrated. Story 33. I live in a small town that is almost entirely dependent on summer tourism. Most shops shut down for 6 months of the year but make their money during spring and summer. I take a bus once a week to a nearby town for a pub quiz. It drops me back around 11:30 p.m., and I walk a short distance to my flat. I pass some of the shops on the way. Every week, I see the local Indian restaurant. It is the only shop that has been open, but it is always empty when I walk past, and the 2 staff members give me a polite nod as the street is otherwise deserted. Tonight, I walked past, and it was bustling. I don't know if the sunny day brought people out or if it was a pre-booked function, but they were doing a great business. The waiter was too busy to see me to nod. I hope they have a successful season. Story 34. We recently moved into our dream home in the middle of the countryside, surrounded by rolling fields, an introvert's paradise. Early this morning, I stood outside with the dog, enjoying the tranquility, and noticed a single hare ambling along the edge of the field. It was simply serene. Story 35. I saw a woman at an event, and her leopard print belt perfectly matched her leopard print blouse. She looked immaculate. Separately, a man who served me coffee on my way to work was playing Lighthouse Family very loudly on his phone, and it created such a vibrant atmosphere. Story 36. A little bird hopped along the sidewalk beside me for a few steps, as if we were going for a stroll together. It made my day. Story 37. My dog and I met the bakery lady for the first time while getting flowers for my friend's birthday. She instantly recognized my dog, and they cuddled in her car for about 10 minutes. She was so happy. Story 38. I was driving by an elementary school around dismissal time when a little boy stood on a hill by the school sign, making the horn honk motion with his arm. Naturally, I honked my car horn, and I heard him shout, "Oh yeah!" It was so cool. Story 39. On my drive to work, there was a child waiting for the school bus. He was pumping his arm to get people to honk. Story 40. As I opened a door at work, a colleague was on the other side, pushing it open with both arms. Since I pulled it a moment before her, she ended up falling through the doorway with her arms out, and we accidentally ended up in a brief hug. Story 41. One of my staff members told another, "Give her a minute," when I had just walked into the office. They call me Mama, and I had just heard someone say, "Did I hear Mama walk in?" It made me smile because they know I drop everything to make sure they are okay. And in that moment, the one staff member who could see me knew I needed a moment and gave me a minute. It may seem small, but I smiled and chuckled. Story 42. I had my review today, and everything was absolutely glowing except for one thing. I received a raise. While not insignificant, it's the first time in over 8 years that I've had a supervisor tell me that I'm doing really well in my job. Story 43. I have baby bunnies on my property now. They are joining the wild quail and baby goats that escape from my neighbors to feast in my field. Story 44. I recently started a new job at a yoga studio. One of the major critiques I received was that I wasn't allowing my personality to shine during class. Today, before class began, I made a good joke with some of the members, which helped everyone feel more relaxed about having me as their instructor instead of the usual teacher for that time slot. Story 45. My wife mustered the courage for a 5-hour drive on her own since my injury prevented me from going. I hope she has an awesome weekend away. Story 46. Our neighborhood bats are awake from hibernation for the winter. My kids and I love watching them zip around at dusk. Story 47. I guess this qualifies as cute. I found a vintage Fat Albert t-shirt in a secondhand shop today. I love it. Story 48. I had jury duty. We were in the holding room for hours. 2 individuals began a snoring contest. It was hilarious. Story 49. My cat just jumped on my bed, crawled into my Grateful Dead hoodie, and popped his head out of the neck hole as if he owns it. Story 50. I visited a local fundraising club today, and they participate in a meeting ritual called Happy Toonies. Members donate $2 and share something they are happy about. People shared various things about their day, week, and lives. 2 participants donated money just to express their happiness about my presence at the meeting. I donated $5 to share that I was very happy to be there and that this ritual made my week. I have been in such a good mood since. I want to return every week. Story 51. Remembering some of the things my boyfriend talked about, such as future plans with me and how he called me beautiful. Story 52. My nephew visited me in my home office and gave me a big kiss on the cheek with a cute little sound. He is only 17 months old. Story 53. A child accidentally stuck his squish ball to the ceiling. His father was jumping to get it down, and it was silly. It made me laugh, and it was very wholesome. Story 54. I work in a challenging neighborhood with a significant homeless population that moves through frequently. My office is located near several shelters and organizations that assist individuals experiencing homelessness. I always make it a point to greet and positively interact with anyone who passes by when I am outside. There are more reasons involved than just being polite. I genuinely enjoy being kind to people. Tonight, 3 individuals passed by and greeted me as I was getting into my car. I recognized 2 of them and hadn't seen them since last fall. They were happy to see me, and we exchanged a few jokes before I drove off. They didn't ask for anything. They were just pleased to know I was doing well. It brightened my otherwise gloomy day. Story 55. I saw a video of a possum carrying nesting material with its tail. They can grab objects with it and walk around. Story 56. My neighbor's cat always sits at my front door and waits for me. It happens every day, and it makes each day a little better. Story 57. I went down to the pond in front of my house and saw countless little tadpoles. They were everywhere, wiggly and playful, bumping into rocks and swimming off. Some of them had tiny feet, which was adorable. I also found a large apple snail shell, which was quite interesting. Story 58. 2 girls welcomed my daughter to kindergarten and admired her styled hair and purple boots. Story 59. I watched my daughter crawl over to the cat so she could pet him while I was drinking my morning coffee. Those 2 remind me of my childhood with the cats my family had. One of them would follow us to the bus stop every morning and then wait there in the afternoon for us to get home from school. They are practically inseparable. Story 60. I saw a little elderly couple walking their dog this morning, and they were wearing matching yellow raincoats. Even their puppy had a tiny yellow coat. It made my entire commute better. Story 61. Waking up and noticing that my dog decided to leave the couch downstairs and walk up to take a nap next to me. That, Mr. Teacher, is why I was late today. Story 62. I said to my son, who is 4 years old, "We will always love each other." His reply, in the sweetest voice, was, "Indeed." I laughed. Story 63. My cat knows how to shake hands. Anytime he sees food or treats, he raises his little paw for me to shake it. Today, I was giving him a treat with my other cat. When it was the other cat's turn, I didn't pay attention to him. So when it came to his turn, he was waving his paw in the air the whole time. My heart melted. Story 64. I saw a puppy. That, in itself, isn't particularly exciting. However, my wife calls every dog a puppy, and I always tell her with a straight face, "Actually, I believe that's a full-grown dog." I took a picture and texted it to her, saying, "Babe, look, it's actually a puppy." Story 65. A girl in the grocery store line smiled and waved at me. I try not to make eye contact with anyone in public because I don't like engaging in conversation, but this kind girl brightened my day. Story 66. I am watching a great courses lecture series on language given by a professor named James McWhorter. I feel ill today, so I am mostly listening while lying on the couch. Every so often, he shares a witticism or wry observation that makes me laugh out loud. I am really enjoying it. By the way, if you are a Stardew Valley fan, he looks just like Demetrius. Story 67. I was at the dog park when a man entered with a tiny dog that immediately ran over to my 95-pound dog and stopped about 6 inches away from her. My dog lowered her head and gently licked the top of its head. I could tell that the man looked alarmed at first because he didn't know my dog, which is completely understandable. Story 68. I work in childcare. One of my kids ran up to me when I arrived at work this morning, gave me a big hug, and said, "I missed you." I had seen them the evening before. It always brightens my day. Story 69. Poppy, the neighbor's dog that I look after, stayed curled up at my side all day as I lay in bed with back pain. When I finally mustered the strength to get out of bed, she gave me affectionate kisses, including a playful lick in the nostril, which made me giggle. Story 70. My 20-year-old daughter is in a surly stage. I understand. She loves to eat crab legs. Today, I found a bookmark illustrated with crab legs to give to her. When I did, she said it was the best part of her day and gave me a rare, genuine smile. Story 71. My friend told me I should be a writer and to remember him when I am famous after I confessed I have changed trajectories in life and I am trying to be a model. It was so sweet. People tell me to be realistic, but he made me think that I could do it. Another friend suggested that we can turn my silly songs about relationships into a reality and go to a studio someday. I really wish I could connect with others through music, so that made me feel good. Really good. Story 72. I'm so late to the game, but I got a new gaming PC and have been kind of glued to it. After a while, my orange kitty sat in front of the monitor, so I figured I'd stop and go play with him. I moved over to the couch to turn on something while we played, and he came running, jumped on my lap, and started purring. Basically, he couldn't figure out how to cuddle me in my gaming chair and desperately needed those cuddles. Story 73. My cat was trying to get a squirrel's attention. She rolled around, rubbed her head against the window, and pawed at it. But the squirrel only had eyes for the bird feeder. Story 74. My crush, a coworker, grabbed lollies from a bowl in one of our meeting rooms where we could see each other. While on his way to a meeting in another room, I assumed the second room had run out of lollies and needed restocking, which is why he made the stop. However, when the meeting was over and I went to refill them, I found all the bowls full. It was unnecessary, but I'm not complaining. Story 75. I managed to write something properly on Reddit. Finally, it's not just venting and not too long. I wrote it an hour ago and already have over 10 upvotes and 3 comments. I like using Reddit because it makes me feel proud of myself a bit. I'm so happy. While I was writing it, I received another comment. I really like this. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.